Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Homan,
family.
with all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you enter the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way.
Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, exposes Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to her face for having no idea what she's talking about. She tries to grill him on zero-tolerance illegal immigration policy, and he exposes that she has no idea what constitutes illegal immigration or not. I mean, he brings out the receipts. He tells her the exact code in the U.S. law that prohibits this kind of illegal crossing. And she just sits there with a blank face like, because she isn't smart, she isn't clever, she's just a clueless bartender who grifted her way into becoming a congresswoman. Now, this is the problem that I, and I'm sure a lot of you have as well too with politicians, is I don't even understand what they really do. It seems like they just argue and talk all day about how they're going to spend our money on things that they have no idea or experience about. I wouldn't trust these people to run a lemonade stand, let alone the federal government. Now let's watch her try to get Tom Homan with a gotcha, and he just Uno reverse card shuts her down. Watch.
So I looked at this memo, and it seems like this is the source of it. And it seems as though, Mr. Homan, that you are the author. It says here from yourself, Kevin Michalinen, and Francis Cisna. Is this correct? Did you sign the memo?
I'd have to see what you...
I'd be happy to provide it. And we'll provide it over, but I would like to note that here it says the official recommendation. There were 3 different options presented. The third included the option for family separation. This initiative would pursue prosecution of all amenable adults, including those presenting with a family unit. Mr. Homan, your name is on this. Is this correct?
Yes, I signed that memo.
So you are the author of the family separation policy?
I am not the author of this memo.
You're not the author, but you signed the memo.
Yes, a zero tolerance memo.
So you provided the official recommendation to Secretary Nielsen on for the United States to pursue family separation.
I gave Secretary Nielsen numerous recommendations on how to secure the border and save lives.
But it says here that you gave her numerous options, but the recommendation was option 3, family separation.
What I'm saying, this is not the only paper where we've given the Secretary numerous options to secure the border and save lives.
And so the recommendation, of the many that you recommended family separation.
I recommended zero tolerance.
Which includes family separation.
The same as is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested when they're with a child.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father from his
Mr. Homan,
family.
with all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you enter the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay.
That is the response of somebody who bit off way more than they can chew. If you enjoyed that roasting, make sure you smash the like button. But the problem with AOC and other Democrats who share this fairy tale vision of how the world is their delusional worldview breaks down instantaneously the moment you acknowledge human nature, which is not all people are truthful, not all people are good. Sometimes people can be evil and harmful and dangerous and should not be allowed to enter the country. And if you have these border policies that rely on people crossing to be truthful, then all they're going to do is lie because they have no incentive to tell the truth because they're just going to get turned away. Any person can just walk to the border and say that they're claiming asylum. Any person can just grab a kid and just bring them with them and say, now we're part of a family unit. You can't kick us out. It's so absurd to me that no other country in the world allows open borders, allows people to just come into their country willy-nilly. But it's U.S. Democrats that are just hell-bent on being perceived as virtuous and compassionate, and that they're willing to destroy the entire country, risk so many people's lives to make these treks through South America, up Central America, and into Mexico, to get smuggled and assaulted by cartels, criminals of the worst kinds. But it's not really surprising, seeing as these are the same kind of people who will throw reality completely out the window and say that a man can become a woman. If all of their policies aren't based in facts or truth, they're based in some delusional fairy tale land that they exist in their head, well then of course terrible circumstances are going to arise from that. I just don't understand the logic of, we're the greatest country on earth, so because of that, let's open our doors to every horrible, evil person that exists, let them in here and destroy our country in the process because, hey, well, they're poor and they're oppressed and they come from hard places, so, you know, let's let them into our house and ruin our house in the process. But that's why I love Tom Homan as Trump's pick for border czar, because you can tell this man is playing no games. He has a mission, he has an objective, and he is not afraid of backlash from these liberal, spineless idiots, and he's going to do the job and strengthen the border and protect American citizens. But here's Tom Homan talking about the attacks that just happened in New Orleans and in Las Vegas and saying that the threats are still active. Watch.
Well, look, I think the further the investigation goes, I think they are going to find a connection between the two incidents. But look, they're both suicide events. The man in New Orleans certainly had no plans to going home for getting out and trading gunfire with law enforcement. So I think both these men realized they weren't going home after this event. But the threats aren't over. I've been on this network for 4 years talking about the threats coming across our southern border. And, you know, we got a record number of known gotaways. Over 2 million people enter this country. We don't know who they are or where they came from or what their purpose to come to this country. They weren't vetted, they weren't screened, they weren't fingerprinted. We don't know who they are. And since the Border Patrol and CBP arrested over 300, well over 300 people on terrorist watch list, how many of that 2.2 million who escaped apprehension, who escaped vetting, who escaped fingerprinting, came from a country sponsoring terror? Even Christopher Wray, the director of FBI, said numerous times under testimony in front of Congress that this is the biggest national security vulnerability he's seen. I agree with him. So we're not out of the woods. This country's in grave danger. We need to secure that border. And despite what's happened the last 2 days in Las Vegas and in New Orleans, this administration is not stopping. They're still releasing thousands of people every week through the CBP One app, the CHMV program, and Border Patrol continues to release people in this country without proper vetting. This is not a good thing, and I can't wait for the new administration to take power and secure this border and protect our national security. Well,
he is 1,000% right. And just because these two attacks came from U.S. citizens, which is concerning in its own right, because why are Americans getting radicalized, especially Americans that have military history? If our military has been infiltrated by terrorists and are radicalizing military, we're screwed. We're over. We're cooked. They've destroyed us from within. And I mean, that is like rule number one of Sun Tzu's Art of War. Why go to war with an enemy when you can just destroy them from within? And so you have a combination of U.S. citizens getting radicalized, probably and likely working in conjunction with terrorists, and then you have a record number of terrorists who have entered the country. It just makes you think, how much worse is this going to get? Terrorists aren't coming to this country because they're trying to assimilate in a society and live a peaceful American dream. They are planning for an eventuality where they are going to cause mass destruction and chaos within the American homeland. Biden's open border policies will go down as the most treasonous act that a president has ever committed. I mean, think about it. All Democrats offer is free stuff. Government sponsored this, government handout this. And who's going to appreciate that more than anybody? Illegals who have absolutely nothing. They see that black people are finally starting to wake up and realize that the Democrat Party isn't there to help him. And if they lose that base, well, then they have to replace it somewhere. They can't just change their policies. Their policies are about bigger, more expansive government. And so they don't want to give up their power. They want to keep expanding their power. So that means they need more people to come in and vote for them to keep growing. This is what a policy predicated in kindness and compassion will get you. It's like if you leave the candy bowl out on Halloween and you leave a sign that says, "Please just take 2." You know within 30 minutes, somebody is going to come and take the entire candy bowl because that is just human nature. I'm sure that there are plenty of illegal immigrants who literally just want to come here and live a better life. That's fine, but you still can't do it illegally. But outside of those people, there are many, and I mean very many people who are coming here for the sole purpose of destroying America. And the strategy that the cartel used was simple. They would just flood border crossings. So all the agents from that area would have to come to deal with that particular influx of migrants. And then when all the other areas were essentially open, that's when they sneak through the fentanyl. That's when they sneak through the guns and the weapons. That's when they sneak through the terrorists and the spies. Now watch Tom Homan talk about just how foolish it is that the FBI is declaring that these 2 attacks that occurred both on the same day, both by U.S. military, aren't connected in any way. Watch.
The suspect in New Orleans posted videos online Tuesday night claiming that he had joined ISIS before the summer and provided a will and testament. So they did confirm that he was indeed inspired by that terror group to carry out that vicious, violent, heinous act and attack there in New Orleans.
Well, that brings another issue. I think the incoming administration needs to look at insider threat. I mean, insider threat analysis has been put in the back seat by this administration. If we got 2 people who served in the military that were in, that committed these terrorist acts. We need to really dig down into insider threat in our military, in our federal service, whether it's the FBI, whether it's other agencies, whether it's the military. Insider threat's a big issue, especially in our industry that has infrastructure responsibilities. We need to drill down and find out about this inspiration and what insider threat is currently in the United States government, military, and in the United States government service, and address them right away. We got to address insider threat. We have to. We can't let this go on any further.
Tom, just to circle back there, you said earlier, and you just referenced again a terrorist connection there in Las Vegas. The police chief said they haven't identified that, but to your point, you said you believed as this investigation carries out in Las Vegas that I believe you just said you believe they will find a connection. Do you have any other information, or have you been privy to any other information other than what we just directly heard from the police there in Las Vegas?
No, I don't. This is a gut feeling. I've done this for 3.5 decades. I just think there's too many similarities, too much coincidence. I think something down the road they're going to show there's some sort of connection, whether it's this, they got whether it's some same network or where they got the tools to pull these terrorist attacks off. I just feel like there's going to be something down the road, and I could be wrong. It's just a gut feeling I have.
He's totally right. I mean, how many times over the past 4 years has this Democrat-led government claimed something to be false, claimed something to be untrue, only for it to be proven to be factually correct? I mean, if you can't see the connection between these 2 attacks and have the resources behind you to dig down deep and figure out if there is one, is just absolutely ludicrous. It makes me feel like the FBI and the CIA and Homeland Security are just a whole bunch of clueless, lazy bureaucrats who aren't trying to do their job, who aren't trying to really get to the bottom of this. The FBI is supposed to be the world's best investigative agency. And you're telling me they couldn't find any connection between 2 people who committed terror attacks, who are both military, who both served at the same base? I mean, things are getting ridiculous and just plain old dangerous. So I hope you guys stay safe, keep your head on a swivel, and I hope that once January 20th comes and Trump is inaugurated, we will start seeing massive positive changes that benefit all of us. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video. And I will see you guys in the next one.